It's a great backdrop. Well, it's wonderful to meet you. Thank you so much for taking a minute out today.
Absolutely.
So, before we get into your good work, I want to know this. 5 years ago, the pandemic was raging. So many things were getting thrown into the unknown. It was probably the precursor to Austin becoming the capital of the world. So, let me ask you this. How did you survive the pandemic of 2020, and how has it radiated into your world in 2025?
I think unconsciously, I started preparing for it almost a year ago because my major changes happened a year before when I went through burnout and sold my business and went into the journey of personal development and just out of depression and who do I want to be when I grow up. And so I was already on that journey when pandemic happened. So I think that actually worked in my favor because I was already deeply focusing on myself and what do I want and how to be better. And honestly, for me, it was pretty good because I remember exact day when Austin was shut down. It was March 10th. And the reason I remember that because that was the last drink I had with a good friend of mine. We went into lockdown, and since that day, I never had a single drink.
Oh,
So
wow.
I stopped drinking, where most of the people actually went opposite, right? Sales of alcohol increased, people are home. What I realized that I was a social drinker.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I don't have anybody around me that are drinking. I don't need to drink. I don't want to drink. And when I tell people I don't drink, they was like, what happened? They want to have that big drama and reason why. And I was like, nothing. I just stopped one day and and haven't started since then. So I think I was just on a journey to figuring out who I am and what I want to do, and that how it worked out for me.
So let's get into what you're doing these days, right now. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of 12-year-olds. It's career day. The kid in the back of the room is curious and is like, what do you do for a living?
I teach adults. I teach adults how to be better and actually sometimes how to remember to be a kid, how to remember to be open and honest and communicate and have fun and truly remember who they are and what they want in this life.
So what did you want to be at 12 years old? What was your dream job?
Interestingly enough, I wanted to be a teacher and I wanted to teach adults. It
Okay.
took me a little bit detour or a little bit of a large detour. But even my mom the other day, we were talking, she was like, you know what? You always wanted to be a teacher. And 30 plus years later, I finally became who I wanted to be. Not how I imagined it, but
Yeah.
still.
So before we get into the timeline of your career leading up to today, I want to ask you this. Take me back to your childhood. What were these foundational elements that made you want to be a teacher, to help people, to help adults get to a better place? What were all those seeds that were sown?
So I was born in USSR, the country that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Have my birth certificate saying USSR, part where is Russia. Raised by a single mom, and she instilled in me that you can have everything you want. You might have to work for it. It's not gonna just, get on your lap. And I wasn't raised in a rich family or anything. It was just an average household. But she definitely invested in me. She worked really hard nights and days to give me a good education. I was raised going to a school of foreign languages, learning four languages. So she invested in my education, and I loved that. I remember when my first day at the School of Foreign Languages, they asked, who do you want to be? And I sat there and I was like, why would you ask that? Like, I didn't know. We're still kids. I haven't even thought about it. And I leaned back and I looked around and I was like, you know what? One day I want to have my own school. Why not?
Yeah.
And technically, that's what happened.
So who's been that hero, that inspirational force that it's allowed you to find your true footing right now and to become who you are?
I don't think I have one. I don't believe in heroes or models or examples. Um, I do love certain traits of certain people, but it's never a hero because not a single person is perfect, despite the ideal picture that a lot of times, especially if you are on social media, that it's being drawn and shown to you. I don't believe in that as me is, nobody walked in your shoes. Nobody knows exactly. One shoe doesn't fit all. So the truth is, take the best, remove the rest. Find what works best for you. And that being my life motto is that don't compare yourself to others. Don't try to be like others, but see what works for them, try it for yourself, and see how well it works for you.
So anybody that wants to get to a better place in their lives has to take risks. It's a part of the process.
Mhm.
What's the biggest risk that you've taken?
I think moving to United States at the age of 20, 21, something like that, that was a huge risk. And overall, every single day. I mean, I started business in an extremely male-dominated industry, young, foreign construction type of work, and that's a risk. And people are so afraid to get uncomfortable and being judged and so on. So that's me. I love adrenaline. I love uncertainty. I think that's what drives me. And this is part of my personality. I love change. I mean, it's a kind of a joke in our household.
So was it always a dream to come to America?
It was never a dream. A dream. It was never a plan, never a dream. So yeah.
So let me ask you this. What do you like the best about being in America and what do you miss about your home country?
I mean, I've been here for over 15, 17 years. So now it's home.
Yeah.
And I definitely miss my family and friends because I moved here by myself. So, but we make the place. And now I have family, I have friends and so on. So I don't think I miss anything or it's more, I think, cultural, the type of people and the type of communication and the politics and the view of the world, where a lot of times in America, everybody deserves a trophy and all of that. Something that I was raised very strict, right? In Soviet Union still, I went to school. So it was very different mentality and the work ethics. And I think that's what I missed the most. And that was a little bit challenging in the beginning to look at the people and it's like, why would you do that? Why everybody feels so entitled without having done something? Just because I'm entitled to. You're entitled to live and be, but you're not entitled to certain things just because you're here.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. On this journey of teaching, it's a two-way avenue. You're teaching, they're learning, but you're also learning as well. What have you learned from being a teacher? What have been the big lessons of life that you've learned through this process?
I learned to love humans. I learned to love people. I developed more compassion for people. Because it's so easy to judge. It's so easy to roll your eyes and it's like, how dare you? How could you? We're all smarter, those couch potatoes who know better and all of that. And through the journey, I learned to appreciate human beings and always fascinated by the behavior and why people do certain things. I don't come from the judgment anymore. I come from curiosity. I was like, wow, that is fascinating. How you end up in this situation? Tell me more.
Yep. So what's been one of your favorite students or clients that have, I mean, not even, and I'm not saying this from a favoritism standpoint, but someone that you made a big impact on, that they revisited you later on and talked about it, or a big moment with a client?
Ah, wow. So many. I'm gonna point couple. I randomly receive messages once in a while, and I was in New York doing a training, and it was the first day. I just pulled to a building. I'm in the parking lot, and randomly, out of the blue, I receive a text message from a client who took a training probably about 2 years ago or so, and he said, "Hey, we just closed on our lake house." And that was a dream that I couldn't even imagine before I went to your training. And I just want to let you know I might not be staying in touch very often, but I want you to know that we achieved that because of you. And I was like, oh, like couldn't be more perfect timing when I'm at my first day for the of training. So things like that, saved marriages, communication with kids. I had a client who calls like, hey, I just talked to my teenage son for 2 hours on the phone.
Yeah.
It's like it's unheard of. So it's beautiful. I think that's the reason I do what I do is the impact that I see real impact from every single being that the program touches and we touch.
So let me ask you this. What is your philosophy on work-life balance? You have to take care of your family, your soul, but you have clients, you have to give a lot and dig into deep things. How do you balance that out? How do you work that out?
I personally don't believe in work and life as a separate things. There's life with a work in it. It's not two separate things. And I went from the being workaholic and working 60 to 80 hours a day. I've been there, done all of it, and now I lean towards philosophy of less is more. So I definitely, some people call it selfish, but it's me first. If I have, if I'm full of resources, I'm full of energy, I can give back. And my family knows that, my kids know that. When I'm in training, after I come back, after several days, I need my 24 to 48 hours not to talk to anybody. I need my energy back, and they respect that. But after that, I'm there and I'm truly there, not just to put a check mark. So quality over quantity for sure for me. And investing in yourself, prioritizing yourself, not from ego perspective, but to truly fulfill yourself so you can give. Because you cannot give with an empty cup.
So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and ran into that version of you right before you were coming to America, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on this life that you've lived, the wisdom you've accumulated over these years, what advice would you give that young version of you?
Relax and have more fun. I'm such an overthinker and all of that. And now I'm stepping into era of having fun and all of that. But back then it was all work, it was hustling, it was proving and all of that. And just relax. Smell the roses. And I know sometimes it's easier said than done, but definitely relax and have fun.
That's a perfect segue into my next question. If you were to walk into a room of all your clients, everyone that you've worked with that knew you in a professional sense throughout your life, and you could go to a podium and tell them one fun story about you, a wonderful place that you traveled to that was magical, the first concert you saw, jumping out of an airplane, some kind of fun story, what would you tell that room of people?
Fun story. I used to be very cynical and number driven and all of that. And when I started my journey, I went to a training and we were doing a goal setting with meditation, all of that. And I was like, this is just too woo for me. like give me numbers, give me statistics, give me research. Like that is just not me. And the trainer, she said, not only I set goals, but I also set goals to receive gifts. And I was like, what kind of nonsense is that? Like, if I want something, I buy it myself. Like, I don't like, so it was completely foreign to me. And just to prove the class and all of them wrong, I said, okay, I'm going to set up a goal that is, and I know it's not going to happen. So I set up a goal to receive 1 million as a gift, just to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
Funny enough, 3 weeks later, I received a direct deposit to my bank account for exact amount, 1 million.
Oh.
The funny part is it was 1 million rubles, not dollars. I mean, it was still a good chunk of
Yeah.
money and everything. And I was like, well, I learned that you have to be very specific, be careful what you wish for.
Uh-huh.
Because I was like literally just, I'm gonna do something to prove you wrong. And the universe has or God, whatever you believe, has a very interesting sense of humor.
Absolutely.
And it was like literally just exact, not a penny more or less. It was exactly 1 million.
Wow.
So I used the money, I invested it and bought an apartment in Moscow. But it was just, I was like, wow.
That's great. That is so, life is stranger than fiction sometimes. Just weird how things happen. So, of everything that you've accomplished in your life and evolved to at this point, what are you the proudest of?
Who I am now and the ability to be honest and straightforward and be truly me. Because so many people, and I used to be that, hiding behind the mask, trying to be somebody who they're not. And I'm truly proud to say that I've been through the journey and I'm truly me. I do what I want, I say what I believe, and I actually mean it.
So, at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients,
Mhm.
everyone that you've worked with, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Perception. The person who loves uncertainty, yet who can be trusted and relied on.
Perfect. I love it. So if anyone has questions, they want to hire you, they want to reach out, any of the good business, where do they go?
So we have a website, it's MotivAction.Academy. It has all the contact information, all the social media links. So come check us out, and if that resonates, let's connect.
Okay. I will put all this in the show notes. It was so wonderful to connect. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Best of luck. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Looking to get new clients to your business through cold calling or email marketing? At Agency Y, they envision a world in which small and big companies have equal chances to win new customers in the market. Their purpose is to bring parity and reduce the gap between large and small firms with the help of their cold calling and cold email marketing services. Use the code Joe Dimino 10 at www.agencyyy.org/coldcallingjoe.php or www.agencyyy.org/emailmarketingjoe.php to get 10% off your first order. This is Joe Dimino of Neon Jazz and Famous Interviews, and I stand behind Agency Y to meet your business dreams.